Sometimes life changes in the most unlikely details. A wrong number, a misplaced message, and suddenly everything changes. That's exactly what happened to Luciana, a dedicated cleaning lady, single mother, and hard-working woman who just wanted one more day's pay to support her son. But what she found in that luxurious mansion went far beyond the cleaning she expected to do. Most people would believe that there is no room for miracles in the everyday life of a simple woman. But what if a mistake opened the door to a twist of fate? Get ready to follow an exciting story full of social contrasts, unimaginable surprises, and gestures of kindness that restore faith in humanity. Because in the end, it's not about how we get in, but how we get out. This is one of those stories that touch the heart, which make us reflect on the value of empathy, unexpected help, and of the mother's love that moves mountains. Stay until the end, because what you'll see here may move you, and maybe even inspire you to see life's mistakes as opportunities in disguise. Luciana was 42 years old and had a tired look that said much more than words could express. She was dedicated cleaning lady, those who wake up before the sun and only rest when everything is in order. Single mother, raised her son with courage and faith, even without having anyone to share the burden of bills, decisions, and sleepless nights with. Her name was not in any headlines, but her story deserved to be told. She ran from one house to another with a mop in one hand and hope in the other. Every penny she earned was planned with surgical precision, part for rent, part for rice and beans, and if there was any left over, maybe a snack for her son. Even exhausted after a difficult week, she didn't complain. She was one of those hard-working women who move forward, even when life pushes them back. Because giving up, for her, was never an option. Luciana dreamed. She dreamed of a better future, a good school for her son, a home where it wouldn't rain. But she lived simply, with what she could afford and what she could hold in her heart. She had learned that those who have little learn to value much, and it was exactly with this spirit of someone who only wants to work with dignity that she took the bus that morning, without imagining that fate was about to change everything. On that muggy Monday morning, Luciana received a message from a new client, giving her the address for a possible one-off cleaning service. She found the neighborhood strange. It was an upscale area, far above the standard of the houses where she usually worked. But since she had been recommended by another employer, she decided to go anyway. After all, work is work, and with the month being tight, any extra daily fee was welcome. Arriving at the location, he came across a luxurious mansion surrounded by high walls, an impeccable garden, and an automatic gate that opened with a simple touch of the intercom. On the other side, a busy and apparently distracted butler didn't even question her presence. He assumed she was another one of the employees hired by the house management. Without thinking twice, he let her in with a brief nod. Luciana crossed the huge hall with some trepidation, carrying the bucket and cleaning cloths as if carrying a secret. Still not understanding exactly who had hired her, she decided to start cleaning one of the hallways discreetly, thinking that perhaps the owner of the house was just busy. The confusion, however, was only beginning and would change her life in a way she never imagined. From the first few steps into the house, Luciana felt as if she had entered another world. The marble floor reflected the natural light that came in through the huge windows. The chandeliers looked like museum pieces, and every detail of the decor exuded wealth. She, a simple woman, accustomed to cracked tile floors and worn furniture, felt almost out of place in that soap opera setting. The social contrast, it was glaring, as if his broom didn't belong on that shiny floor. Without making a sound, she began to work. She thought that perhaps her boss was reserved and didn't want any contact. She cleaned the surfaces carefully, noticing the excess of everything: expensive paintings, enormous vases, embroidered cushions. It's too much of an exaggeration, she thought, arranging a decorative object with light fingers. But even with so much luxury, there was something strange. a heavy silence, an absence of life, as if that luxurious mansion was frozen in time. What surprised her the most was that she didn't see anyone else. No cook, no gardener, not even anyone walking through the hallways. She found it strange but continued on. After all, she was there to work, not to ask questions. Little did she know that, just a few meters away, someone was watching her with watchful eyes, and that this mistake was about to reveal much more than just accumulated dust. Luciana was finishing cleaning a huge bookshelf of old books when she heard firm footsteps approaching. When she turned around, she came face to face with a tall man with a serious expression, wearing simple but elegant clothes. It was Raphael, the owner of the mansion, a widower, a recluse, and long removed from social appearances. He did not expect to see anyone at that hour, much less an unknown cleaning lady cleaning the library with such care. For a moment the two stared at each other in silence. Luciana froze, fearing she had invaded a space where she was not welcome. But Raphael, instead of exploding, seemed intrigued. With a slight frown, she asked who had sent her. The answer came timidly and uncertainly. She thought she had been referred by an old client. Raphael crossed his arms, thoughtful. That didn't make the slightest sense, but it didn't sound like a lie either. Instead of sending her away immediately, he continued the conversation. Suspicious, yes, but curious. There was something in her posture that disarmed him. Polite, firm, but humble. Luciana explained that she only wanted to work and didn't quite understand the misunderstanding. Raphael, although skeptical, decided to listen. And it was there, in that silent room, amidst dusty books and disconcerted looks, that a new chapter began to be written, without either of them noticing. As they talked, little by little, the pieces began to fall into place. Raphael realized that no one in the house had requested a cleaning, and Luciana, with her cell phone in hand, noticed a crucial detail. The message with the address had a wrong number. The mistake was clear. She had ended up in that luxurious mansion by mistake. Her face flushed with embarrassment. Apologizing profusely, she tried to gather the materials and leave as quickly as possible. But before she reached the door, Raphael stopped her with a calm gesture. Instead of irritation, there was a certain charm in his eyes. That simple woman, who acted with such respect and naturalness, had touched something inside him that had been dormant for a long time. He asked her name. She answered with a shy smile, Luciana. And at that moment, as if the universe were designing a new destiny, he asked her to stay, at least to finish the coffee that the cook had left before resigning weeks ago. Luciana hesitated, suspicious, but Raphael seemed sincere, and despite the confusion, she felt something different in that place. It was as if that mistake that changed everything was, in fact, a subtle opening of life to something greater. Still not knowing where it would lead, she allowed herself to stay a little longer. Because sometimes the unexpected comes disguised as a mistake, and the heart recognizes it before reason understands. Sitting on the glass-enclosed porch, Luciana and Raphael drank coffee in silence. He, reserved by nature, seemed to struggle with words, but he soon shared that the house had been empty since his wife had passed away 2 years earlier. Since then, living there had been like living in a museum of memories. Everything was in the same place, except life. Luciana listened attentively, without judgment, just with genuine empathy, like someone who knows the weight of other people's pain. The conversation slowly unfolded, as if each sentence was cleaning not only the air, but also old wounds. Luciana, in turn, talked about her son, a 9-year-old boy who dreamed of being a veterinarian. She spoke of sleepless nights, overtime, and the faith that kept her going even when the refrigerator was almost empty. Raphael, accustomed to the silence of the marble corridors, was touched by that exciting story. So simple, so real. It was at that moment, between one sip and the next, that something changed. She was no longer a cleaning lady who had come in by mistake, nor a lonely widower telling stories from the past. They were two different people, from opposite worlds, connected by a similar pain and a common desire to start over. That unexpected call, made of listening, respect, and humanity, would be the starting point for a change of destiny that no one, not even them, could foresee. 2 days later, while Luciana was finishing up a cleaning job in another neighborhood, she received an unexpected call. It was a driver saying that Mr. Raphael requested her presence urgently and kindly. Not understanding but trusting the respectful tone, she got into the car. When she arrived at the house again, luxurious mansion was welcomed with smiles and a table set with fresh coffee. In the center of the room, Raphael was waiting with a proposal that would change her life forever. He offered her a steady job with a salary far above what Luciana had ever imagined earning. Not only for the amount, but for the recognition. He wanted her to take care of the house, but also to help take care of the silence, as he put it with a smile. More than that, Raphael offered something even more valuable, a full scholarship for her son to one of the best schools in the region. It was like hearing the impossible taking shape before her eyes. Luciana could hardly believe it. It seemed like a trap too good to be true. But Raphael explained, "I see something rare in you, Luciana, a silent strength, a truth that cannot be bought." That unexpected help, driven by sincere generosity, it wasn't charity, it was recognition. It was as if life, for the first time, was looking at her with fair eyes, and with her heart racing and her eyes filling with tears, she knew something big was beginning. That night, already at home, Luciana could barely sleep. Raphael's proposal echoed in her mind like a song too beautiful to be real. Was it really true? Was there some hidden intention behind so much? Generosity? As a mother soil accustomed to fighting with her own strength, she was instinctively suspicious. It was hard to believe that someone rich, who lived in a silent mansion, would simply want to help, without asking for anything in return. But when she remembered Raphael's gaze, serene, sincere, slightly melancholic, something inside her told her there was no trap. He wasn't just hiring a cleaning lady. He was looking for a little life in a house that had stopped in time. He was betting on someone he felt was genuine. And Luciana, with her humility and ethics, felt she couldn't waste that opportunity. Not for her, but for Thesson's future. With her heart divided between hope and fear, she accepted. But she made it clear, she was not a woman to take advantage of things, nor to accept handouts. Raphael smiled and said, "I know. That is precisely why I am offering it to you." It was an agreement sealed with respect, empathy, and something even greater, the beginning of trust. Luciana did not imagine it, but that was the beginning of not only a life change, but also a reunion with everything she always deserved and could never achieve. The following weeks brought a new routine that seemed like something out of a dream. Luciana's son, who used to walk long streets to the neighborhood public school, now wore a uniform to an institution of excellence where he received attention, encouragement, and respect. With each homework assignment completed, Luciana saw something new in his eyes: brightness, hope, a sense of belonging that until then only existed in the stories she told him to put him to sleep. In the mansion, Luciana's presence began to transform more than just the rooms. It transformed the energy of the house. Where there had been silence, there was now the smell of a cake in the oven. Where there had been emptiness, there was now conversation, laughter, and even music playing at a low volume. Raphael, who had been a recluse, began to smile again. He found comfort in the simplicity of that hard-working woman and in the spontaneous affection of the boy, who soon began to call him uncle. It was as if his pain was also gaining a new purpose. Luciana, on the other hand, discovered talents she didn't even know she had. She organized the house with love, gave ideas, and paid attention to details. She was no longer just an employee. She was an essential presence. Raphael treated her with respect and consideration like a member of the family. Dedicated cleaning lady of yesteryear was now part of a history of resilience where two different worlds met to heal each other. And all this because of a wrong address. In the end, what seemed like an irreversible mistake turned out to be the most beautiful success of Luciana's life. A changed number, a message sent by mistake, and there she was, inside a luxurious mansion, being welcomed by someone who would never have crossed her path otherwise. Sometimes, life's plans are so unlikely that we only understand when we look back and see how much sense it all made. That one dedicated cleaning lady, Mother Soil, who left before sunrise and returned when his son was already asleep, now lived a new reality, not by luck, but because of his attitude, empathy, and character. And Raphael, previously a man frozen in pain, found laughter and human coexistence again thanks to the presence of a simple woman who arrived without asking for anything, but offered everything: respect, care, and humanity. It was the kindness, combined with the opportunity, which transformed their lives forever. And perhaps the biggest lesson lies precisely in this: a mistake that changes everything. It may actually be the script for something bigger being written behind the scenes of existence, as the final narration says in a soft but meaningful voice. Sometimes what seems like a mistake is just God rewriting your story. How many times do we complain about life's mistakes without realizing that some of them are just shortcuts to our miracle? Luciana entered that house by mistake, but she left with her heart full of hope and a whole new future. What about you? Have you ever thought that something apparently wrong could be the beginning of a new life change? If this exciting story touched you, leave a comment below. Do you believe in destiny or coincidences with purpose? We want to know what this story awakened in you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our stories that touch the heart. Here, each story is a reminder that the world still holds gestures of empathy, generosity, and endings that surprise even the most skeptical.